Welcome back to Dooley's Dog Pod. I'm Donna Trailer.
And I'm Noah Bice.
Dakota Beats.
And this is a podcast where we talk about everything that happens on Dooley Field in Sanford Stadium with your Georgia Bulldogs. This week, we are talking about what happened in the Clemson game a couple days ago. And then we're going to preview Tennessee Tech. That is the reason that Dakota is here, because he went to Clemson. So he's here to provide the tears.
Emotional support.
Yeah.
Emotional. Yeah, that's
Oh
one
my
word
God.
for it.
Anywho, so with that said, we're going to jump into kind of a general overview of some points from the Clemson game. Then we'll dive into Georgia's offense and defense and notes we took away from them, and then also Clemson. Dakota, provide any perspective whenever you feel like it.
Try my best.
I can't do this. Okay. So
You ready?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Clemson is awful.
We're just going to start off the bat with that.
Georgia played pretty well. I thought Clemson's D-line did well early on, but obviously kind of fell through late in the game. I think we should probably open, though, with some of Dakota's thoughts. As someone who worked the game and is also a Clemson alum, having to support Georgia from a camera and cry on the inside as a Clemson fan.
That's a pretty apt description of the experience, I'm not going to lie. It was, yeah, I mean, the first half was interesting. Came out optimistic, you know. Holding the number one team in the country to only 6 points for 2 quarters is not easy. However, then the beginning of the second half was complete flip of the script, and yeah, it was all downhill from there. Crying, pain, just all of the emotions at once.
Depression.
Yeah, especially.
I'm crying. No, it was so funny on the way there. So I rode with Dakota to the game. And as we're getting closer and closer to Atlanta, we see more and more Clemson people. He's like, oh my God, my people. Like, I love the Tigers. And we're just like, no, stop. Just keep driving. And thank God, like I was, as y'all already know, like I always stress out over the games. Like it does not matter. We could be playing our literal high school team and I would still be like, oh my God, because you just never know. And so I was definitely stressing, but thank God we didn't have to deal with riding back with him from the game after Clemson beat us.
I had to deal with running back with y'all, but
That was to be expected, though.
I
If
mean,
Clemson had upset us, that would have just been, I would have had to quit my job.
here's the thing. I went into the game feeling like this could be a win-win for me. You know, Georgia wins. You know, it's a good time. Clemson wins, obviously. Alumni. You know, I'll be ecstatic. But then I get there, see the orange and purple, the sea of orange, and yeah, I don't know, something just flipped, and I was like, go Tigers. Just, the excitement happened. I was like, maybe we can actually do this. Yeah. Didn't happen,
Thank
but
I don't know. I thought you guys did. I mean, again, held us to 6 in the first half. I thought it was pretty decent. You guys blitzed every play, but the D-line did look good. Outside of everything else, the D-line looked decent. I would say above
it's
average.
the one
even.
consolation we can take from that game.
Yeah. You did have to deal with Nate Frazier, though.
Yeah,
And
Nate
he had a game.
Frazier, what a dog.
Yeah,
I mean,
averaged 7.5 yards on every carry, and he ran 11 times.
unreal. What year is he?
Freshman.
Freshman.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Especially with Etienne not playing this week, I don't think I was waiting in my head for Nate Frazier to come out and like Brock Bowers himself into stardom.
Absolutely not. Like, that was definitely kind of out of nowhere. But I'm like so glad about it. And it's like, I don't know, if I'm ETN, it's like, I feel like there's going to be more of a fair share between the two of them now. It's not just going to be like, he's just going to be the number one option. Like,
He's got some
which
work
is what
to
I
do.
thought. Exactly. And so we'll see. That's very exciting. But yeah, like, this man was cooking all day. Nate was. He definitely should have had, at least one more touchdown. He like, let me see, did he score? Yeah, he did. Literally at one point he like got the ball all the way to the 1 yard line and then they gave it to someone else and I was like, oh my God, like you should have given it back to him, but whatever. At least he scored at least the one time. But yeah, he was crushing it as a freshman, so love that. But yeah.
It was a game of new players.
Yes.
I mean, even with like London Humphreys, ex-Vandy player, Vandy did good this week.
Oh yeah.
But without
crazy.
London Humphreys, but that may be the fastest I've ever seen someone get up to speed in my life.
In a new, yeah.
Yeah. Immediately catches the ball and is in max speed after one step.
Yeah, no. Every player who scored for us has never, except for Cass Jones, had never scored for us because we had 2 transfers and a freshman. with that being Colby Young, Nate Frazier, and London Humphreys, and then obviously Cass scored. So, I mean, it was pretty crazy because it's like, obviously, for so many years, it's been Brock, Ladd, like the two of them that you just hear constantly scoring. So I thought it was great. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is making me excited for the rest of the season, just seeing how the rest of these guys are kind of holding their own already.
Yeah.
You want to talk about some evidence for using the transfer portal? I mean,
yeah, listen to
Cough,
straight to
cough.
Dabo. Yeah.
Cough, cough, Dabo, cough, cough,
Yeah.
cough.
What are the odds Dabo gets fired this year, Dakota?
I don't think it's out of the picture.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessarily in the picture.
Okay.
Dabo Swinney is Clemson royalty. I mean, he always will be, and he should be for good reason. Like, he should have a statue of, in Death Valley, or at least his name on something. He came in. His story is incredible from, his mother being broke while he was a player in college, so she literally had to live in the dorm with him. He goes and plays in Alabama, does incredible there, or does, he's an above average football player.
Yeah.
And then goes on, is like a wide receivers coach for a little while at Alabama. No coordinating experience, gets the head coach job at Clemson, and then comes in and transforms them into one of the powerhouses for 6 or 7 years. That powerhouse has fallen. We are in a new world of college football, and you've got to keep up with the times. So I think Clemson knows him a debt, but it wouldn't be out of the picture for him to not be there much longer.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't know about his backstory like that.
I didn't either.
So that's wow. See, this is why it was good to have him on here. Look at that. Learn something new.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have App State next week, and App State can do App State things.
They're not a joke.
They will
They can do
upset
App State
teams out of
Yes.
nowhere.
It will.
Happens all the
So
time.
we'll see. If you guys go and lose another game, we're gonna have another conversation about Dabo's future.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, outside of the Clemson side, Georgia played well. A lot better than we thought, I guess, in our projections. They held Clemson to a field goal, and we both had them scoring more than 15, I think, and what we guessed last week.
Yeah, we both guessed 17 for Clemson.
I have more faith than I did. I had 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like, looking back at our score predictions, I was the closest to our actual score because I said 31 and it was 34. So props to you for that. Pat on the back. And then Sandy, who's not here, was the closest to y'all score because she said 10. When I talked to you originally, you said 14. So that's what I
Okay.
wrote down for Dakota.
Okay, 14.
But even still, like, thankfully, we were all wrong. And it is what it is. Yeah, thankfully. Anyway, so just some general information from the game, like Clemson winning the coin toss, and then, yeah.
Who elects to go on offense when you win the coin toss? Like, just
Yeah.
football 101, you go defense, so you get the ball at the half if you're down. Like,
Yeah. And what's so crazy is with the way that this game went, with like Georgia really picking it up after halftime, like imagine we come out of the half and Clemson gets the ball first. Like this could be a totally different game. But
Could've changed
instead,
things.
they were like, Teehee, actually y'all go ahead. Y'all can have it for the second half. And we were like, thank you, we don't mind if we do. And look what ended up happening. So that was kind of crazy. I will say I thought the game was really equally like reffed. Like I thought the calls were very even both ways, which we haven't said in a minute.
Yeah.
And so that was great. I feel like across the board, when I've watched other games this past weekend, it was the same way too. Like last night watching USC and LSU, I thought that game was pretty even as far as the reffing goes. So I'm like, maybe they had like a whole reffing conference this past off season. We're like, let's get it together. And I'm
let's
like,
get
thank you.
into SEC play first.
Yeah.
see what
We'll
happens
see.
there.
Yeah, we'll see. That might be calling it too early. Well, it was so hot that players and staff were cramping. And I say that because, who was it? I think it was Dylan Bell had to leave the game for cramping.
Yep.
Yeah. And then our coworker, Nyambi, which I should have verified that she was fine with me like sharing this, but it was hilarious. She caught a cramp right before halftime. And she was like, I just had the Charlie horse of a lifetime. And it was hilarious. It was like, because we're indoors, you're not expecting it to be that hot. I was dying. I was sweating bullets. Dakota, who is never...
I was wearing a hoodie and pants. I was fine, but
Yeah, you kind of said you were okay, and then the roof was closed, right?
Roof was closed.
Yeah.
It
I
was
felt
supposed
a
to be-
little breeze in there every now and then. I thought the sideline was packed. I mean,
This is
it
true.
was hard to move anywhere that you were in that stadium. So
Yeah.
a lot of bodies. It is going to be hotter, but
I don't know. Maybe it was because I was like all around the place in like the stands and whatnot that I was like hotter. But like Maddie was hot, I was hot, Kai was hot. All three of us were doing this fan angle too though, so maybe that was it. But I don't know. It was really hot.
Malachi Starks was hot.
Yeah, Malachi Starks was
Repeat the Oregon catch, but made it better.
literally.
One of the best interceptions I've seen in person.
He was like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way he caught that.
I mean, even Georgia football reposted his Oregon pick and the pick from this weekend and put them side by side, and they were the same thing. Except it was just better this time.
Yeah, it was
And he's
better.
not a freshman anymore.
No.
First game of the season does something different to him.
Yeah. Especially
he's a ball
in
hog.
Mercedes-Benz, because
Yeah.
that was
Also in
Same.
Mercedes-Benz.
Oh, that
Yeah.
was in Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
the
Okay.
Oregon game.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
something about being in there, that man's like, oh, I'm about to light somebody up. And hey, it looks great.
It's been fun seeing him transition from the rookie we talked about preseason to, oh my God, this man just made a name for himself. And then now he's like a senior player, consistently doing stuff like he did this weekend where he's just making plays for this defense.
Yeah. Like, that was when we were talking last week about who we're going to be, like, missing and whatnot, it was like, obviously we're going to miss, like, a couple of DBs like Tyke Smith, like Javon Bullard, but it's like we still have our, like, savior at times, Malachi Starks, and he went and proved us right. So, like, thank you for that. It was amazing.
Another defensive player, Jalen Walker, comes in and makes like 3 stops in a row after Michael Williams goes down.
Yeah.
And he pops out of the game. Jalen comes in and turns into a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Great celebs.
If I had to say, I mean, I would maybe put Jalen Walker as the MVP of the game. Like,
Yeah.
he had some insane stops.
Yeah.
Nobody could get past him.
It was like he had, 2 or 3 tackles, like, in a row.
Yeah.
Like,
It was as soon as Michael went
Back to
out.
back to back.
and
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this man is doing his thing. And then he got up and was like, God. I was like, yeah, we know. We know.
We know.
Like, once again, depth is not something we have to worry about at Georgia.
No,
Thank God.
Thank God. Because, like, speaking of, Michael Williams goes down with an ankle injury after an illegal hit by Mr. Maffa, is how you say his name,
Maffa,
yeah?
yep, Phil Maffa.
I was like, oh my gosh, I was going to give him his props. Like, that's one of the things that I say at the bottom here is Phil Maffa, got to give him his props because he was hard to take down. But then I take it right back because he illegally hit Michael Williams, and that's how he got hurt with 6 minutes and 38 seconds left in the third, if you want to go fact check me. Anywho, so Michael Williams gets hurt. That was horrible. Warren Brinson got hurt like 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah,
He
he went
literally
down
was just
quick.
running, and then all of a sudden he grabbed his ankle. I was like, oh God.
I thought he got
what's
stepped
going
on.
there? I didn't think so.
Oh.
That was what
I thought
they.
he got stepped on,
Yeah,
too.
that was what they released after the fact. Was a contusion. Was his injury?
Oh, maybe so.
It was like very high, like
Yeah.
above the ankle, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So not actually his Achilles.
That's
supposedly.
good. Thank God. Jordan Hall didn't play at all. He wasn't dressed out.
He's been hurt. Yeah.
Jonel Aguero also out.
Yeah, been hurt.
And I said all these injuries, and we still look pretty good.
Can
Kinda
we
is
talk
what
about
it is.
Arian Smith for a minute?
Oh God, I love him.
He played well. Had the most receptions on the team.
Yep.
Went for 10 yards of reception. At
Yeah.
least.
And the coaches have made a point to talk about wanting to include him more regularly.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like over the last couple of years, it's just been like we throw to him once or twice a game for like a huge, massive catch because you know he can outrun anybody. But it's like, no, we need to get this man like incorporated more often. And so clearly they did that.
There's a space open that Ladd left as like a go-to guy to
Yeah.
hit. Brock as well as a go-to guy to hit consistently. And Arian Smith kind of popped up into that, getting 5 on the day. So
That's true.
we'll see if he continues. Hopefully. I would like to see all these guys. I would like to see London Humphreys get the ball more, but it kind of looks like he may take the Arian Smith role of 2 massive catches.
Yeah.
And then Arian Smith slides into the Ladd McConkey. I caught 10 balls and had 125 yards on the day.
I think Lawson Lucky had a pretty good game too.
Yeah,
he
he
had
played
some
decent.
nice receptions. Let's see. I'm
Good
trying to
start
think
for
of
him.
all the people.
Being off of, he was injured last year, right?
Who? Lucky?
Lucky.
Maybe. I can't exactly
I
remember.
know.
He did not play much.
Well, because he
play,
was
yeah.
third on the depth chart behind
That's
Delp
true.
and Bowers. I know he got in some because I remember talking about it, but he was not like a consistent.
Well, he definitely
from
stepped up this year, or this game.
Last game.
Yeah, we'll see. I think he's going to take over the Oscar Delp Flash's role, and Oscar Delp tries to take over the Brock Bowers role.
We'll see.
So, yeah, I mean, if there's any way to do it, it is Oscar Delp. The kid's huge.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's ever going to be Brock Bowers again. That was like
No.
a generational talent. But if we're going to get close and have a good tight end, I would be very comfortable saying Oscar Delp is the guy right now. So,
I agree with that.
but anyway, moving on to next week.
Yeah.
We play FCS school. Yeah, what was media like today, Dakota? Do you remember anything about what was said?
I mean,
Anything
you
significant?
kind of hit record and zone out a little bit. Just focused on the shot, focused on trying to get what you need to get. But don't exactly get every question. I mean, it was a lot of questions, honestly, about like practice.
Yeah.
Just about how do we practice? How do we keep up the consistency? And you know, Kirby, he doesn't give a lot.
No.
He likes to keep things very close to his chest, and
Yeah.
fair enough for that. So,
He
but
did
it was,
mention-
everybody was in good spirits, obviously, and pretty. I mean,
Yeah.
never underestimate an opponent, but Tennessee
fair.
Tech.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
He did mention they did almost make a really good comeback against Middle Tennessee last week when they were, down by 16 at the half. They came back and ended the game 25-32. So
Wow.
they're a tough team, but from what I've looked at numbers and heard
So
from
are
Kirby
we.
Smart, but it's like I think they are going to be a fun team to watch. Basically, because I don't think they'll give up halfway through the game. I think they'll keep playing pretty hard.
That's good.
But I'm not. It's obviously it's a Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles. If this game wasn't happening, I wouldn't know this was a real team.
Can't underestimate anybody though. I mean, Oregon and Idaho this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, that almost lost. South Carolina almost lost to Old Dominion. Like,
Yeah. And
never-
every week there's some crazy thing. Maybe App State, Clemson this week. Some
Hence
crazy.
the-
let's not put that into the universe. Let's keep that.
Hence the reason why I always freak out at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And Noah always clowns me for it. He's like, why are you always stressing? And I'm like, that's Holfer sound. Okay.
And we're back.
Yeah. It's funny.
Hence the reason that I'm always freaking out, because I'm like, literally, you never know. Oregon, Idaho was actually crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it was like the fact they only won that game by 10 points. Like, we were talking about it, and then like some analysts during like halftime of last night's game were talking about the same thing. They were like, that's a bit concerning with them being like third.
They were ranked third.
Yeah.
I mean, I have them like projected in my national championship, basically.
Yeah, I think I do too. Like, either them or Ohio State, but I'm pretty sure I'm with Oregon, and I'm like,
Yeah, I liked Oregon a lot before that.
Yeah, before that game, now I'm a little concerned.
I mean, you never know though. Obviously, everyone has bumpy games. It took us forever to get going in this game against Clemson. but
When it
it's
is
like-
not taking us forever to get
That's
going.
what I'm
I mean,
saying.
last
It
year was the
always-
same
It's how it
story.
always happens.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. So it took them a minute. They were actually down. I think it was 14-10 or something like that.
Something
Yeah, I
like
think
that.
then they ended up finishing 24-14.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you never freaking know,
Yeah, I mean, it was 17-14 until like the final play of the game almost.
which is very scary.
That is insane.
Very scary.
No other crazy upsets this past week. I guess Notre Dame beating A&M by 10 at home, or Notre Dame being away. I guess they brought back power in their intro.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Seen a lot of clips of that.
Did we already talk about Vandy, Virginia Tech?
We did, but like I feel like we have to go back to that because
We
that
do
was
need to go back to
pretty
that.
crazy.
Unbelievable.
SEC supremacy.
Yeah.
I knew you were gonna go there.
Literally, everyone was like, "What now?"
Yeah.
When we were like leaving, when we were leaving the game, that game hadn't ended yet, but they were winning, and we were like, what? We were like, wait, is this actually happening? And then when obviously it ended and they actually won, we were like, wow, who had that on their bingo card?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Literally no one.
Literally no one.
Virginia
They go
Tech was
1-11
supposed to be
the
good.
rest of the season.
Don't win a game the rest of the year.
That's the thing. Virginia Tech was supposed to be really good this year.
They were. A lot of people had them as like contenders for ACC title game.
Yeah.
But like maybe they still are, and they just either they had a fluke. Either
They
one
just
of them
lost
could
to
have had
an
a fluke
SEC
game.
team?
Yeah, so that's exactly. Vandy had a fluke game, and they had a fluke game. Both of them at the same time. It was just like, you know what, crazy outcome. But that doesn't mean that Virginia Tech's not going to be a good team.
But that was the other thing. It was like
It also doesn't mean Vandy's going to be a good team either.
No, anything can happen week one. Literally
So
anything
true.
can happen week one.
Yeah.
These
Yes.
teams got to find their identities, find out who they are,
Yeah,
and how they're gonna play for the rest of the season.
yeah.
I mean, Vandy actually had like a full student section, so maybe if like people show up to the games, they have like a crazy home field advantage.
We know they're not going to do that though.
Yeah. Well, they only lose games when the stadium's not full. So when you fill it up, they beat Virginia Tech.
African Stadium's under construction as well.
Yeah.
That distraction going
Yeah,
on.
that's real.
Look, whatever it takes to win.
So real. Okay, yeah. I think that was really it. We always talk about games to look out for in the next week or so. Obviously, the Georgia Bulldogs. That should be a key matchup. But outside of us, obviously, we have Texas versus Michigan, which I think obviously is going to be like the best matchup of the day. But
I
we'll
think
see.
Both of those teams are frauds.
Okay,
That's my
so then
thought.
who's the bigger fraud? That's the question.
Michigan's a bigger fraud, yeah.
Of course.
Literally. That's so funny.
Fake national championship.
Yeah.
Do you have Arkansas, Oklahoma State on there?
I do not.
It should be because they beat this FCS school 70-0, and Oklahoma State's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Arkansas, Oklahoma State. Oh,
Yeah.
I almost like that drink.
Yeah, that's another good one to look out for. Iowa, Iowa State, South Carolina, Kentucky. Yeah.
Mr. Clemson hates South Carolina.
Every day.
Well, you know, I kind of, as much as I should hate South Carolina, I like their coach.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was the worst thing you could have said.
I
Oh,
like
no.
their
Shane Beamer
coach.
is the biggest fraud in college football.
I like the coach.
They're
Beamer
about to go to
ball
blows, y'all.
Don't get me
I like
started.
the coach.
Dakota would
Like
get
the
up and
sunglasses in the locker room, just Mr. Goofy.
You're just
Should
mad.
be a warning anytime his face pops up on screen.
That's so funny. But the other thing with Kentucky is they have Vandegrift and Jamon Lewis-Johnson.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
So it's
Some big
kinda have to
transfers.
see- Yeah. Kind of have to see if they do anything with that.
I mean, both playmakers for us last year.
Yeah. One more
Well,
than the
one
other.
of them playmaker, the other one.
Well, even the one who was a playmaker didn't play.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, until he got hurt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then CJ
CJ was
played.
born.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, did he have? He had 0 defensive stats.
Who?
Nope, I'm lying. He had 2 tackles last week against Southern Miss Golden Eagles.
Oh.
Anyway.
I was like, are you talking about CJ?
No, I'm talking
I'm
about
like,
Pop.
obviously he had, but anywho. Okay, we need score predictions for UGA versus Tennessee Tech.
Yeah.
Goodness.
There's no spread online, so I have no idea what I'm going
no
to say.
spread online?
No, I have no idea what I'm going to say.
I gotta do some math, as always. Okay, I got my score. Wait, hold on. Are you gonna type yours?
No,
Okay.
I'll hide.
Yes, hi. You have to come up with one too.
Oh, I know. Working on it.
I'm like, I think I know what I'm gonna say. Do I?
Mentally computing.
Yes, I think I do.
Mentally computing is
Wait,
crazy.
I'm at the bottom of the dock, so don't go there.
I'm not there. You're covering it on your screen.
I am doing that. Let me think.
See
I got mine.
Okay.
I think I have mine too. Okay, are you ready? Let's say our score on 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
38.
55.
I said 51.
Really?
51, 38, 55.
That's fair.
Okay, and then, oh, hold on. Okay, their score on 3. 1, 2, 3.
7.
6.
Dang!
Yeah.
Nobody was on the same page. 3, 6.
All right. 51-3, 38-7, and 55-6. Word. Yeah, I don't.
No bias there.
I feel like I want to change our score. 45. I like that
Here's
better.
the thing. It's pretty likely that we have a very low scoring first quarter.
Yeah.
Just historically, like we may score once,
Yeah.
but then the second we get rolling, like, I mean, we can't
Yeah.
stop us.
My thought is like, how much can the third string score? Because they're gonna come in pretty quickly. Especially with the injuries we've had so far, the starters are not gonna stay in for that long.
Yeah.
If Carson Beck touches a ball in the fourth quarter, I'd be impressed.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly,
In the second half.
he might have two drives in the third quarter, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sticking with 51-3.
Okay.
55-6.
45-7. I think we put our third strings in and they get lucky on like a bomb late.
Could happen.
So I think it's always safe to give an FCS school more points than Clemson does against Georgia.
Okay.
Leave your score predictions for this game in the comment section down below.
I'm still adjusting to YouTube.
I know, like it's just so goofy. And if you're listening, I don't know. Nobody who doesn't know us like is listening to this. So just text us what your score prediction is. Y'all got it.
Text on A. I don't want that.
Or not.
Anyway.
Anything else that we left out that anyone wants to talk about? Are we good?
I think I'm good.
Good.
What do you think Clemson's record's going to be this year?
A record?
Yeah.
I'm still holding at 10-2.
Okay.
I still think Clemson potentially goes on to play against Miami in the ACC championship.
Who else do
game.
you lose to though?
A fluke game like an App State or an NC State. It's not going to be FSU and it's not going to be South Carolina. I'll tell you that.
I was like,
What about
I think
Virginia
it'd be
Tech?
so funny if you lost to South
Hey,
Carolina.
you know, prior to the Vandy game, maybe. We'll see. You never know what's going to happen in the ACC.
You never know what's gonna happen anywhere.
Yeah.
Truly,
All right.
it's terrifying.
I'm done.
All right, well, this has been Dooley's Dog Pod. I'm Donna Trailer.
I'm Noah Bice.
Thanks for having me, Dakota Beats.
Yes, this was great. We hope to start having more guests on here every now and then, but obviously this one made the most sense because hello, Clemson alum.
Go Tigers.
But yeah, no, we're
I'll
gonna
cut
cut
the
that
audio.
out. Yeah. Anyways, thank you all for watching and or listening, and as always, go Dogs. Peace out.
See you guys next week.